Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two trucks having sex. Two trucks having sex. My muscles involuntarily flex. Two pickup trucks making love, American made.
Listen up, Autobots and Decepticlowns. You are listening to Prime Cuts, a non-linear history of the Transformers franchise on television. I'm one of your hosts, Nero.
I'm your other host, Audrey.
And it's happening. The most evil motherfucker in the universe is back. He's resurrected and he's here to get his greasy little hands on the Allspark. But first, we gotta go camping.
I will say, it is very funny how animated is truly a story about Megatron and Starscream killing each other over and over again.
It really is.
They just can't get it to stick on either of them.
No.
They're like the twits.
They're quite bad at it on both ends.
That's the Autobots literally don't matter. It's just about Megatron and Starscream killing each other over and over and over again. It's death becomes her.
Yeah, really. So we are finishing off animated season 1 today with the last 3 episodes, Nature Calls and then Megatron Rising, parts 1 and 2. Big old season finale.
Nature Calls was okay. It had the Dinobots, so that was nice.
No, that's part 1. That's part 1 of Megatron Rising.
Oh yeah, right. You're right. Never mind. Just kidding.
You know what's funny? I always get Nature Calls and Survival of the Fittest mixed up because they're very similar titles. Not really similar episodes at all, but
no.
you know.
Nature Calls, yeah. So that tells you what the fact that I got it mixed up with the next episode tells you how much I thought of Nature Calls, I guess.
I will say this about Nature Calls. I think the animation looked very nice. It was very, very like bouncy and expressive, especially on Sorry and Bumblebee.
Yeah, sure, I'll give it that. It's just like a nothing story.
Especially
like in comparison to the season finale.
Yeah, like it the way the scheduling worked out, not really fair to Nature Calls going up against the big old like status quo shift of the season finale and whatnot. Like, but you know, it's another like this one could be a decent Teen Titans episode.
I will say there is increasing evidence that I was wrong earlier on, and that these Transformers and animated do fuck. Because we have increasing references to sexual organs.
Yeah, we sure do. So,
including one in Nature Calls.
Let's get right into it here with Sparkplug from G1 getting murdered in a mine by some shadowy monster.
He's fine, but he's dead.
He's dead as fuck. But I like, it's funny because obviously it's supposed to be Sparkplug. But also, whenever I look at this animated Sparkplug, I can't help but see Pacha from the Emperor's New Groove. They have a very similar kind of like, I think it's the eyes. The eyes are very similar.
I think you could say the same thing about like Fanzone in terms of like body and head shape.
If you combine the two of them, if you like put them in the fly machine, you get Pacha somehow.
Yeah.
John Goodman is involved in some form in the process, but I'm still working that out.
I think at every point, John Goodman would have been a banger Fanzone. Let's be real.
Oh my god, literally just a fucking Coen Brothers character.
Yeah, 100%.
So we cut over to it's snowing in Detroit. It's winter, and Prowl is yet again on his nature versus human shit, and he hates it. He hates that they're plowing the streets and messing up all the pretty snow. And it's like, listen, buddy, I gotta get to work soldering circuits for Sumdac's killbots. I gotta put bread on the table, motherfucker.
He has this line that's like, I hate how they ruin nature with their machines. It's like, buddy, what do you think you are? What do you think the carbon emission on your little motorcycle alt mode is, my man?
Maybe all of the vehicles in the future have gone electric. Although we know that's not true because Grimlock
because fossil fuel.
Mad. Yeah. Grimlock was very mad about the cars and trucks eating his friends. So, but Bumblebee raises that exact same point later when he's like complaining about it at Autobase. He goes like, "Buddy, you're a machine too. You know that, right?" And he like hits the hologram thing.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, Bumblebee's the annoying character. He is, however, correct in this episode.
Worst.
Camping sucks. Camping sucks. It's the worst. If I can't plug in my phone, what's the fucking point?
I'm so glad we're aligned on this. I went camping very briefly when I was with the Boy Scouts when I was growing up, and it was the worst. I have a very strong memory of this, and I want to tell you because it will inform.
This is actually what made you non-binary. It was the Boy Scouts. You
Maybe
hated this
partially.
experience with the Boy Scouts so much.
But
that you're like, I'm now renouncing boyhood.
Like, this one memory I have of this camping trip, like, everything else is washed away in the sands of time. But this one thing I remember very clearly. It's the near the end. I was just done with all that shit. So I stole a bunch of those honey buns, like the Hostess honey buns.
Yeah.
And climbed into my parents' car and ate all the honey buns while everyone else was at, like, campfire sing-along or whatever.
Phenomenal.
And that's who I am today. And this is how we get from A to B. But Bumblebee hates this idea. By the way, Bumblebee gamer this episode. Big gamer energy off of this little fellow here. And, you know, Bumblebee and Prowl are in the same room, so you know what happens there. They argue, and there's a lot of tension there, and who knows what that tension is, and
could be sexual.
We don't know. It
could be because they actually might fuck. There's a lot to give evidence that they have sexual organs. Maybe they just don't reproduce sexually.
Yeah,
maybe they fuck sexually.
That Optimus Prime was just shocked that, like, it was a biological process. Like, oh, that's just like a fun thing we do. That's just
that's just the woohoo. That's just the woohoo zone.
That's why they don't have any, like, music or anything, like, on Cybertron. Cybertron recreational culture is just sucking and fucking all the time. They're like bonobos that can turn into trucks.
I became a transformer to suck blood and fuck forever.
So Optimus interrupts all this and says, "Hey, you jackasses! I have detected a Cybertronian energy signature out in the woods, and it's not living or sentient. It's probably just a piece of our ship that came off during re-entry. So, like, go and pick it up. I guess you can use this as an opportunity for team bonding and character building and whatever. And really, I think he just wants Bumblebee and Prowl out of the base for a fucking weekend.
Yeah, probably.
Just wants to catch some fucking Z's and not hear them arguing all the time.
He's going through it in these episodes.
Especially the next one.
Yeah, the next one. I think actually now that you mention it, I sort of appreciate this episode in advance of Megatron Rising Part 1 and 2, because you can sort of see Optimus, like, slowly inching towards his breaking point here. Which he just slams into at 100 miles per hour in the next episode.
He's wound like a fucking ultra high tension spring, and, like, it's pretty good. So Sari is very excited to show Bumblebee what camping is. Prowl is excited to commune with nature. Bumblebee hates all of this.
And he's right. Bumblebee is the correct person in this episode.
Most annoying guy you know makes a great point. Heartbreaking. So yeah, they're out in the woods, and immediately you can see that Sari is a glamper. She brings all of the creature comforts with her.
Glamping I can fuck with. Camping I don't do, but glamping I could fuck with. I've done some nice glamping experiences. As long as there's, like, running electricity, I'm good.
Sure. You get, like, an RV or something, you take it out to a nice spot.
I've stayed in, like, luxury yurts that were really nice. Yeah. Stuff like that.
And yeah, obviously, does that defeat the purpose of camping? Perhaps. Do I care? No.
Listen, I argued that the purpose of camping is to be outside the city and, like, embraced in the middle of nature. And you can do that even if you have a nice tent.
Yeah, we don't have to be in, like, a Jack London novel to really appreciate nature. You can have your fucking Game Boy with you.
Listen, all I will say is this, is that when I was in South Africa and I went on safari, I stayed on a really nice safari, and my parents paid for it. And technically it was tents because the walls were canvas, but there were like wood floors and like full plumbing in our rooms, and it did not do anything to detract from the fact that antelope just walked through our campsite.
Right, exactly.
Like, it didn't do anything to detract from that. So, anyway.
But Prowl does not follow our belief on this matter. He is quite cross to see that Bumblebee has brought a whole bunch of like DVD players and shit with him, and when he asks where on earth he's stuck all of this stuff, Bumblebee just goes, "Well, I'd rather not say."
Right up his pussy.
Just jamming a whole fucking Sony flat screen plasma TV
Like
right
that,
up in there.
Like that fucking bitch from Orange is the New Black.
God. We also learned
the old cocaine in the pussy trick. I know how it is.
I think Bumblebee would be great as a drug smuggler. I think if this whole Autobot
As a drug
superhero
mule?
thing does, if this whole Autobot thing doesn't work out, listen, I know some guys you can call Bumblebee.
Lockdown. There you go. I'm sure he'd be great.
I've gotten into this new market. Bounty hunting is for chumps. Now I just run cocaine.
Lockdown's pussy popping drug mules. Yeah, for sure.
So we get Jesus Christ, I'm not naming it that. Maybe I'm naming it that. I don't know. Prowl just kind of separates himself from the other two for a bit, and this is where we learn that Sari's excitement about camping was I really like this, because her excitement about camping was purely based off of shit she'd seen on TV, because obviously this shut-in has never gone camping.
I mean, to be fair, she's also 8.
Yeah, but also like she has Sumdac doesn't really let her out of the tower. Like,
no, of course not. But yeah, so they like come over and they're like, "Sorry, you seem to be struggling with that tent," and immediately go to, "Sorry, do you have any idea what you're talking about?" Not, "Sorry, are you 8 years old and not able to put together a tent on your own because you're 8 years old?"
Well, I don't know at what age you should develop proper camping experience. It could be 5 for all they know. But Prowl...
No, you're so right. You're so right.
Prowl decides... So, one thing about Prowl's character that I always find very funny is that he's kind of a show-off, but, like, not in the brash Sentinel Prime way. He's so much more smug and quiet about it. Like, he just pops over, he starts the fire, he sets up the tent, and he just goes back into the woods.
He's aloof. Like, he is actively trying to cultivate an air of mystery around himself.
Exactly. And, I like the bit where Bumblebee is, like, wandering around the woods trying to find a plug for the TV.
Yeah, and Prowl's like, "You dumb bitch.
You dumb motherfucker." But luckily, Bumblebee figures out what to do. He plugs the TV into Prowl and uses his hollow projector to project a movie.
I mean, listen, what's the fucking phrase? You know, overcome, adapt. You know what I'm
Bots make do.
That too.
So they're putting on this like creature feature or whatever, and they've been talking about like they got to find this thing, and they're worried about monsters in the woods. And Prowl's like, okay, there's no fucking monsters. It's Earth woods. There's no creepy shit out here. Then they see a big.
I like
shape.
the implication of this that Cybertronian woods do have creepy monsters in it.
It is full of shit.
Yeah,
that would make your hair go white. But then they see a big shape in the distance, and Prowl goes, "Oh, it's just a bear." And they shine their lights on it, and it's not a bear. It's like a bear in that
it's Garbodor.
It's more like the Annihilation bear than a normal bear. I guess
It's Garbodor from Pokemon.
It is Garbodor. It's a big fleshy lump with construction equipment sticking out. Which, by the way, I like that the construction equipment has Constructicon colors. That's cute.
I know. I did notice that as well. I was hopeful for more expansion on that, but no.
We do get some Constructicons later.
I know that, but I I was hoping more now, but it's okay.
Yeah. Well, they will. All things come to those who wait, and sometimes what comes is Mixmaster with his ass crack hanging out.
And sometimes it's Blink-182. They're coming.
With their new song, Edging. I'm glad they haven't grown up at all.
What's their age again?
So, yeah, this big fucking monstrosity lumbers out of the woods, and Prowl is like, okay, let's just wait it out and see what its weaknesses are. And then the monster proceeds to start.
It wasn't weaknesses. It was like behavior. It's like, hey, don't attack it. Maybe it's not.
Yeah, and then he gets punched. So then they start fighting it, and that's when he's like, okay, so it's not friendly, we know that, but what if we just wait to see what its weaknesses are? And then it gets punched again.
And there's a commercial break that I didn't see, at least, because I'm watching it on Tubi.
Right.
But there's a commercial break here, and right before the commercial break, Garbodor, like, raises a scythe? It has a scythe.
It's got it's like a motorized pickaxe from one of the construction machines, I think.
Yeah, it's a fucking scythe, raises a scythe, and is about to, like, bring it down on Sorry, and that's where the commercial break is. But there's, like, a big full moon in the background, and it's like, damn, I love Bloodborne.
Yeah, it's pretty cool looking. And then, yeah, so they grab Sorry, and they kind of flee deeper into the woods and get their bearings on it, and, like, Sorry's key began to react to it as well, so like it's clearly Cybertronian in some way.
Yeah, she's like, hey guys, do you think it's Cybertronian? And they're like, no, what would give you that idea? And she's just looking down at the key that's like being yanked towards the thing, and she's like, I have a hunch.
So they're trying to piece together what the hell is going on with this thing, and they eventually come to the conclusion that it is a bunch of space barnacles that fell off of their ship.
This is such a stupid thing, but yeah, space barnacles.
Infecting a bunch of machines on Earth. It's space barnacles. Yeah, Sorry goes like those gross things that grow on boats, and Prowl goes, yes, but in space.
In space, barnacles can't hear you scream.
So I got some space barnacles here, and like he says that they usually just drain your ship's energy, and they're like they don't usually meld with machines like this, or they're behaving kind of weirdly. So, but they gotta deal with this thing regardless. They can't just let it wander around. They briefly consider going back to the city to inform Optimus about it, because I guess they also turned off their comms for this.
Or I think they were like out of range.
I guess usually they're within the Detroit city limits.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger issue, is that they're just too far away.
So, but Prowl's like, yeah, we can lead him back to the city, and then it'll just eat all of the many, many delicious machines wandering around, and where will we be then?
And
so
Bumblebee's like, at least not in the bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah, at least we'll be in the fucking city. But they decide they're gonna draw it to an old abandoned Sumdac mine. Well, it recently abandoned, I guess. It was in use until everyone presumably died from space barnacles.
They're fine. Don't worry about it.
Sorry, just sees like a smear of red on the wall and goes, what's that? So
we have a lot of foreshadowing actually in this episode.
We do. In this set of episodes, there's a lot of foreshadowing for certain things to come. But first, Sorry and Bumblebee get trapped in a mine. They try to kite this thing around, but it ends up collapsing the mine entrance behind them. And Bumblebee tries to find a way out while Prowl, like, fights it one-on-one.
Yeah. Also, a lot of people stupidly fighting one-on-one in these episodes and failing very badly.
Prowl does a better job than Bumblebee in the next episode.
Yeah, well, Bumblebee chose a very stupid fight.
Bumblebee might as well have not been involved in that fight. He might as well just not have been there. But yeah, Bumblebee mentions like, I've been playing a lot of this maze running game. I can find us another way out of here. And like, no, it's a mine. There's one entrance. It's not that kind of mine. But then they do manage to like, Prowl actually manages to get them out by kiting the monster into the rubble to knock it over. And they mentioned earlier that space barnacles are very sensitive to heat, I guess, which makes me wonder why it survived burning up in the atmosphere, but whatever. And so they have to find a way to like burn it off. So Prowl uses his like jetpack to do it, which is kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah. He doesn't hold off for too long, though.
No, he gets slapped around and like slammed against a tree by the scythe, but luckily Sorry and Bumblebee are there. Sorry boosts Bumblebee's stingers up to like heat him
11.
up. And,
yeah, he's like these stingers go to 11. Which, if they did, why don't you do this before? But anyway,
it's got to be a team up attack. And they blast the barnacle off of the cliff, and it seemingly dies.
So I have a question. This is like a direct this episode is like a direct reference to the Thing, right?
Pretty much, yeah. It's
like a direct parody of the Thing.
Like sort of. It's definitely going for a bit of the body horror, and like definitely the fleshy lumps and the snow evoke that, and like the sense of isolation. It's not really imitating anybody though. Like there's no point at which the space barnacles appear to be anything else other than themselves. So it's like
that's
it's like
true, but
it's
it does
very
like
broad thing pastiche though.
It does infect, and there are things discovered frozen in snow.
That's true. There are things that lead to disaster.
Sumdac, you ignorant slut. Yeah.
Literally. All right. I'm gonna jump ahead just briefly for a moment to talk about something. So at the end of this episode, it's revealed that the core of the space barnacles was Megatron's body. That's why it was acting so weird. And clearly, at the end of this episode, we see that the Decepticon symbol on his chest is intact. Now,
homie, he like doesn't do anything when there are full Decepticons like that the Autobots have fought in the lab with him.
Right. But he knows what they look. He knows what the Decepticon symbol looks like by now because he's been held hostage by them multiple times. However, my point is that when he drags us back to his lab at the beginning of Megatron Rising Part 1, that symbol's not there. It's replaced with a little hole in the chest. So they tried to trick it. Like they knew there was no way he wouldn't recognize that. It's like, oh, we gotta alter history. We gotta scrub the tapes. We gotta do a shoot. I'm just saying.
Yeah, fine. Anyway, yeah. Back in this episode, the Thing doesn't die. It's not dead, and instead it gets got. Yeah, Prowl gets got.
I like this bit where Bumblebee's like, it'll be fine. Prowl's way too strong-willed to be subsumed by some kind of alien barnacle, and then he goes zombie mode, and Bumblebee goes, well, time to leave.
Yeah, Bumblebee spits out his cereal.
Mm-hmm. And at first, they're just tearing through the woods. Bumblebee is like planning on going back to the city, but Sarah reminds them that if Prowl follows them, like, it'll be a whole nother problem. So what they have to do is trap Prowl first and then go get Prime and Ratchet.
Now, very conveniently, they do find themselves in the furnace room.
Well, there's a few steps between that I find very good. So they do go back to the mine, and they get Prowl in the mine shaft and blow the rubble. Problem solved. They pin him in the mine. However, Bumblebee has done it from the wrong side. And sorry, like he blows the rocks, and he goes, I did it. I successfully executed the plan. And sorry goes, you should have. The plan was to do it from outside, not trap us in here with zombie Prowl. Bumblebee is very stupid in this episode. I know it is. Like he's just not paying attention to much.
Yeah.
But yeah, now they're in a Scooby-Doo chase. With zombie Prowl here. All we need is some ska music to go with this, and it'll be golden.
No, we need a ghost, some Scooby-Doo ghost chase music.
Right. But yeah, they do end up in front of the furnace room. This is the other Bumblebee's really stupid moment. He sees on the wall that it says fire hose, and so he grabs it and points it at Prowl and says, eat flame, and squeezes it, and water or like fire foam comes out. And he's like, well, I thought it said fire hose, so I thought it shoot fire. Which I wonder, actually, now that I think about it, if space barnacles are a problem on Star Cruisers, do Cybertronian ships have actual fire hoses?
My guess is they have like flamethrowers.
Yeah, to deal with that. So maybe he's not as stupid as I thought. Maybe he's just used to actual fire hoses being around.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can't imagine that there are any hoses with water in it on Cybertron.
No.
I can't imagine that there's water on Cybertron.
They don't seem to have much use for it.
No, I'm sure they have like other flame retardants.
Yeah, they have like foam.
Yeah, they have foam and other stuff that, that can be used to knock flame out. Because, listen, I know that people like Wheeljack and Brainstorm aren't up there on fucking Cybertron doing whatever the fuck they're doing without some way to stop a fire. But
yeah. So Bumblebee gets scratched as they like stumble back into this furnace room and bar the door. And Starry has a little brain blast where she's like, "Oh, I can hook the hose up to the furnace and blast Prowl with scalding hot water to get the barnacles off." But Bumblebee is also a barnacle boy now.
Barnacle Man.
And both of them are like bearing down on her, and her key isn't really interfacing with the old technology, presumably because I just thought of this because
sorry, what's the one constant in all your failed relationships?
So, like, the key obviously interfaces with everything in modern-day Detroit, but that's because all of it is based on Megatron's tech. It's all, like, reverse-engineered Cybertronian shit.
Yeah, that's right. I remember now.
So, but she uses the key to, like, spark the furnace up and blast them with the scalding hot water, and also gets soaked in scalding hot water, but that seems to be fine. She just gets wet.
Yeah. I'm sure that's a normal human reaction.
So then we cut back to Autobase, and
It was explicitly boiling. Like,
it was scalding.
Like, I need to be clear, it was explicitly boiling, and yeah, anyway.
It was hot enough to scorch
Rewatching this makes me feel like a fucking idiot.
No, she's just a normal 8-year-old. What are you talking about?
I'm a 12-year-old boy.
So we cut back to the Autobase where Sari has a cold because apparently Bumblebee doesn't have any heaters, which I choose to believe is a holdover from Fanzone's shitty car. Like it doesn't have a working AC. Just like, but yeah, she caught a cold from that. And, I like that Bumblebee tells...
Hey, this was another thing that made me like eye emoji, and hopefully you'll stop backfiring soon.
Yes, because she's sneezing.
And she's like, I'm not backfiring, I'm sneezing. And it's like,
And Prowl and Bumblebee have...
Do you have the reading comprehension of a 5th grader?
I didn't when I was in 5th grade.
I certainly did not.
And Prowl and Bumblebee, I like that Bumblebee tells Prowl that he owes him a new media player. He keeps calling it media player. It's so weird. Like, what is that thing? It's like a
my guess is that
all-purpose fucking...
Like, that's the idea, is that it's a TV, it's a MP3 player,
and
Prowl, it's a secret third thing.
And Prowl gives him the whole spiel about you Mr. 2 on that damn phone, and you gotta appreciate nature, and Sari has to, like, yell at them about the themes of the episode to get it through their heads. And it's about harmony, but here's another one for you. It's about the harmony between man and machine.
Yeah. Hey, there's been a lot of episodes lately about man and machine fusing together. I wonder what that could mean. Nothing. It means nothing.
Doesn't mean shit.
It doesn't mean shit. Hey, I wonder why Sari and Black Arachnia get along so well.
Weird. No, it's probably just another reason. But I like that Bumblebee just goes, yeah, okay, but you still a media player. Yeah. That's where the scene ends, and then
we don't have time for this. We have to go over to John Carpenter's The Thing.
Then we cut to known ignorant slut Isaac Sumdac, who is so excited because he managed to track down Megatron's body. and his friend is going to be so happy to see it, and things are going to go great.
Fuck, buddy, they sure will.
On to Megatron Rising, part 1, where immediately we're back in Sumdac's lab. He's got the body all up in there, and Megatron is like, great, let's let's get it up and running, shall we? Megatron, now that the end goal is in sight, he's having a really hard time keeping a lid on his temper.
Yeah. He backtracks a little bit in this episode,
yes.
But like
after a certain point, it's mask off because he's like, I'm fucking tired of sitting here in this shitty lab on this pathetic planet, putting up with you gross little freaks. And Sumdac just goes, "What'd you say?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just so close. I want to help my friend."
What he says is, "I need to get out there and help my Autobot brothers."
If he had a mouth, he would be vomiting in it right now.
Like clenching his jaw further and further with every word.
Yeah, he's like, the Decepticons are massing for some great maneuver, and I have to go help my Autobot brothers. And
disgusting.
And it's gonna take a while because Sumdac is just a man. So Megatron decides to see if Lugnut is still kicking around, and he is.
Well, and more than that, Sumdac's just a man, and the power goes out.
Right, because it's a storm. It's storming, yes. And also Sorry is fucking around with that key. What else?
Yeah, and Megatron's like, what the fuck is going on here? And Sumdac's like, oh yeah, generator, can't work on your body. And Megatron's like, turn off literally everything else in this fucking building. I swear to God, Isaac, I'm going to crush you if you do not make this your top priority. And Sumdac's like, oh hell, what was that? Sorry, I had like my iPods in. What was that?
I'll go see if I can divert some power. Sure, good old buddy. And Megatron's like, I gotta get my hands on this fucking key because this is gonna take forever. And so he calls up Lugnut, who is in the woods trying to get his shoulder back from Blitzwing, who is wearing it and falling over.
These guys, am I right?
If you'll remember last time, they were quite literally blasted to pieces by the Ark and put back together by Starscream, who immediately shows up to remind them that they only live because of the grace of the great glorious leader of the Decepticons, Starscream.
No, I will say, a lot of times Starscream doesn't have a leg to stand on with these sort of grand overtures. He is right in this circumstance.
Yeah, this one's true.
He did, in fact, save their lives.
But then the PS5 starts speaking directly into Lugnut's ear again. And Megatron, and Lugnut.
This is a great scene.
Yes, goes into full worship mode. It's like, my glorious leader, my wonderful liege, I worship the ground you walk on, bowing in front of Starscream, who's just going like, oh, this is great.
It starts off that way. So it starts off with Starscream being like, hell yeah, that's more like it. And then it keeps going on, and eventually Starscream's like, no, you made it weird.
Yeah, he just looks over at Blitzwing and just like, is he okay? Is he like good?
No, he's like literally what's wrong with him? And Icy's like, he has processor damage. It happens sometimes, and then it switches to random. It goes more often than you'd think.
And he does the twirly around the ear thing. He's cuckoo crazy. And Megatron basically tells Lugnut to get the key and repair his body to mark his glorious return, and of course Lugnut is all about that. He is ready to go, and immediately gets up and is like, Megatron commands us to go, and Starscream's like, hold on.
There is no Santa Claus, there is no Easter Bunny, and there is no Megatron.
He's like, Megatron's dead. I did it myself. I saw it myself.
Yeah, he's like, I know Megatron's dead. I did it. I saw it myself.
And he scans Lugnut and says, okay, well, he is actually getting a transmission from somewhere. He's not just making it up. So here's what we'll do.
Fucked up if true.
you two can go and get this key, and I will see who's fucking with poor Lugnut's head pretending to be dearly departed Megatron.
What a mockery they make of our glorious and very deceased leader.
Yes, a betrayal of his pristine memory. So we cut to the auto base, and everyone's really just like on edge because there's some Decepticon activity, and they're making a move, and everyone's just stressed the fuck out, except for Bumblebee and Sari apparently. But they know what's going on. But Optimus is just like, okay, Decepticons are moving. We got to figure out what the fuck to do about this because we barely beat them the first time.
Yeah, and Bumblebee's like, so what is the plan? Because as it stands, our current odds are como diton terrible.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm working on it. There's this bit where Optimus decides, like, he makes the decision, like, well, I don't exactly remember the order of operation here because there's a lot that happens in this scene, and Optimus gets increasingly angry about things.
The first bad decision he makes a lot of bad decisions, but the first one he makes is that he should be in possession of the
yes, he's like, all right, sorry.
That is what starts everything else off.
Yeah, because he's like, all right, sorry, you've held on to this for long enough. It's time for us to take the key back. And she's like, well, what it shows me, like I'm the Allspark entrusted me with this for a reason. And Optimus says, well, sometimes God makes mistakes. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, to be fair, if I was Optimus, I would also feel this way.
Yeah, I mean, she's been fucking around a lot with it, including in this scene where she has supercharged some RC planes.
She's fucking around with it a lot. And even if she weren't, she's 8 American years old.
She is a baby. She cannot fight a Decepticon.
And she's not a Cybertronian. Wink, 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 wink.
She's just a normal human with lots of flesh.
Right. She's just like she's a human. Wink, 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 wink. Like I don't know. I feel like
it's definitely
I feel like if an atheist was like, I need to be in possession of the Dead Sea Scrolls, a Jew, would be like, maybe not, actually.
Isn't that what happened in Evangelion?
It's exactly what happened in Evangelion, you're right.
And look how that turned out. So you're totally right.
Like, I don't know, like, I'm not saying that Sari's culturally appropriating anything, but...
Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense logically. It's just that this really hurts Sari's feelings, and she feels like she's being locked out of this whole thing that she's really been attached to, and like they don't trust her anymore, and so she just runs off. And Bumblebee, of course, snaps at Prime to like, because like, what's your fucking deal, man? Like,
well, I mean, yeah, so, like, no one is, like, thrilled with this turn of events. Like, even Ratchet, like, Sari starts crying, and Ratchet's like, I don't know, like, Optimus, can you leave it with her? And, like, Optimus is like, I'm telling you to grab it from her, and that's an order. And Ratchet's like, okay.
He goes, yes, sir, which is like, he doesn't do that shit with Prime. Prime's like some fucking military brat. He doesn't call him sir, but, like, yeah, he grabs that key from that child. He takes that candy from that baby. And so yeah, Bumblebee tries to give Prime some guff, and Optimus just like, all right, I'm getting sick and tired of you mouthing off to me, you like
specifically Bumblebee's like, why can't you just trust Sari? Like, we all know her, like we know she's a good person. And Optimus is like, oh yeah, because you're really the best judge of character here.
Yeah, and
like historically, you've been a really good judge of character. And Bumblebee's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, he calls him like insubordinate and like can't follow orders. And Bumblebee's like, all right, yeah, cool, I'm leaving. Bye, I'll go find Sari. And then Bulkhead's like, well, hey, I have an idea about how to fight the Decepticons. We could get the Dinobots. And Prowl's in the background, like, hurriedly, like, making the slicing motion across his neck. Like, no, I haven't told him about that yet.
And Bulkhead's like, Jesus fucking Christ, Prowl.
And Optimus blows the fuck up on them.
He is done. He's so mad. He's
And
like Bayverse levels of angry.
He is about to start chopping heads off. He is about to go fucking Bayverse Optimus mode in this room here. No survivors. And he's like, all right, yeah, we're gonna
Forgive
go to
me for
Dinobot
what I
Island.
must yabba dabba do.
Here's what's gonna happen. We'll go to Dinobot Island, and you're gonna bring me with you so I can make sure this gets done right.
All right, chuckle fucks. Yeah, and like Ratchet's trying to do damage control on the side,
Yeah.
and Optimus is like, no, fuck that, Ratchet. They're all insubordinates, and we have fucking Decepticons launching an initiative, and I need them to like respect my authority and listen to my plan. And I'm no more Mr. Nice Guy. And Ratchet's like, okay.
Yeah. So he assigns Ratchet to go bring the key to the ship and keep both it and the Allspark safe. And we cut to Sorry, who's running outside crying and immediately gets abducted by Black Arachnia. So maybe it's a good thing that they took the key from her right then at that moment, because otherwise things could have gone poorly.
I guess, but on the other hand, Black Arachnia probably would have just taken the key and killed her.
Yeah, like it's it worked out really. So unfortunately though, Ratchet's driving to the ship and immediately gets ambushed by Blitzwing and Lugnut, who, this is brutal. He gets fucking owned.
Okay, so first of all, there is a great shot, which because I was watching on my TV, I couldn't take a screen cap of, but he gets, so they come ahead and once Blitzwing like freezes the ground beneath him, he goes careening to the side, and then, Lugnut does his sure kill punch, which sends Ratchet flying into a building, and as he's flying into the building, he's completely blank-faced. There's no expression on his face. He's just sent flying in, and it looks like a Mob Psycho 100 clip or something, where he's just completely.
This might as well happen.
Exactly. It's like, life is weird enough. This may as well happen today.
And he gets frozen solid. Blitzwing and Lugnut demand to give him the key, and he goes, you can pry it from my cold offline servo. And so Blitzwing freezes him solid and just tears his arm off.
Youch. Yeah, and as he does it, he's like not quite offline, but certainly cold.
And this leaves, and Ratchet is conscious, by the way. Like, the freezing doesn't knock him unconscious. You can see his face change when Blitzwing tears his arm off.
And he makes a noise. He goes,
Yeah, so they have the key now. Black Arachnia has Sorry tied up on a roof, and she's like, all right, kid, give me the key. And Sorry's like, well, too fucking bad for you, I guess, because the Autobots have decided that I'm not trustworthy. They took my key away from me. And so Black Arachnia goes, damn, I know how that feels.
And Sorry's like, oh no, you're not tricking me. You're a bad person.
Just like, it was just, I used to be one of them, but then they.
Oh no, this is when they're on the ice.
Yeah,
that they're having this conversation.
No, they have it briefly, where they're like, I used to be one of them, but they turned their back on me after I got changed.
It's on the ice.
So then we see Black Arachnia tells Sorry, like, all right, if you don't have the key, then you need to bring me to the Allspark, because it's the only thing that can like turn me back. And Sorry seems to accept for whatever reason. Dinobot Island, Optimus, Prowl, and Bulkhead are walking through, and they run into the Dinobots, and immediately, like, obviously, but Dinobot's very territorial, very unhappy to see Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
And Prowl's like, all right, hang on, Prime, you just let me handle it, please. And he's like, nope, no, I will handle all this myself, Prowl. And he tries to sell the Dinobots on this whole thing. It's like, listen, there's a lot of guys coming, and we need all the help we can get. Like, you live on this planet too. And Grimlock don't care.
Yeah, Grimlock's like, we don't help robots, we fight robots. And Optimus is like, what do you think you are, you stupid slut?
Which doesn't go over particularly well. So they have to leave.
Yeah.
And
yeah, there's a little screen that pops up that says everyone disliked that.
Yeah, so luckily the Dinobots start fighting amongst themselves, presumably competing for who gets to tear Optimus's head off first.
I will say, Swoop still looks so fucking good. Swoop's design in this is phenomenal. Ugh.
He looks fucking cool. And yeah, so they're walking off. Optimus is already pretty mad. And then Ratchet calls us like, hey, lost the key. Stole it. They stole it from me.
And Optimus is like, how the fuck did that happen, Ratchet? It's like, oh, well, I was by myself, a medical vehicle, and 2 fucking Decepticons ambushed me and tore off my arm. So why don't you back off my dick?
Yeah, like, how about you fuck off, boy? And Optimus goes, okay, fine, whatever. Just go to the ship. Guard the Allspark, get the weapon systems up and running, because shit's going bad. Meanwhile, Starscream has arrived at Sumdac Tower and blasts his way into the roof. And oh shit, Megatron's in there. I love that Megatron. You can see Megatron looking at him when he flies in. His one good eye.
Yeah, like, immediately they see each other, and the first thing on their mind is, like, I gotta kill him.
Yep.
You can, like, see the connection. They're, like, both immediately... Again, that's what this series is about, folks. It is about Megatron and Starscream killing each other over and over and over again.
And so, Starscream tries to put on oh, my liege, I'm so happy that you're alive, and...
Thank God!
But, oh, so diminished, in such a sorry state, and Megatron's like, my loyal
You're just a little guy and it's your birthday.
I'm so happy to see you, Starscream, my loyal second in command who would never betray me.
My favorite part of this is Starscream's like, I'm so glad to see you still, you're still okay. And Megatron just looks at him and completely deadpan goes, yes, the light is washing over your features.
Yeah. Bumblebee arrived at Sumdac Tower because I guess he went there assuming that's where Starry would go,
right?
And looks up and sees Starscream in a giant hole in the roof. So of course he's like, hey, Prime, Starscream is at Sumdac Tower. We should probably stop him. And Prime says it's okay, just stay there and wait for backup, because there's no way you're fighting a Decepticon alone. And Bumblebee says, I'm already halfway into the elevator.
Particularly not Starscream, who again, for all his failings, it's probably definitively the second strongest after Megatron.
Yeah, he's the strongest Decepticon on the planet currently at this exact time
moment,
in the episode.
Yeah. Like there's a reason that he's able to command the Decepticons for even a brief moment, and it's not.
Bumblebee, last time you guys fought Starscream, Optimus fucking died. And granted, part of that was Allspark related, but also
he did die. I mean,
died.
he came on Starscream's face and then he died.
It's not how we all want to go out. So
I'm really sorry for the amount of really
Lord.
body humor we've had on this one, folks. This is pretty depraved even for us.
We are a bit blue, but it's the end of the season. We're excited. I'm
just excited about the concept that maybe Transformers do fuck actually in this universe. I've been reinvigorated. Your
mind is racing.
Yeah, with possibilities.
So
just like Blur.
Bumblebee is already up in there. And I love this. Starscream is sitting on something and just monologuing at Megatron, it would be so easy to kill you right now if one wanted to. And then Bumblebee
it's so funny, them flirting through trying to kill each other.
Absolutely.
There's no reason for Starscream to do this instead of just pulling the plug on him.
It's so fucking toxic.
And Megatron's just silently listening to him. He's not interrupting him or anything. This is foreplay for them. It's so fucked up.
It's just toxic. Then Bumblebee busts in to ruin the mood. And like it's pathetic. He just hits Starscream full blast with his stingers, and it literally does nothing.
Yeah, Starscream's like, who are you?
He shoots him once, which just like blasts him against the wall. He just got kicked in the face. Walks over, grabs him by the chin, and this is like the iconic animated Starscream moment. Just screams, "You interrupted my speech!"
Yeah.
And Megatron over there is like, "Okay, I've had enough of this shit."
Yeah, Megatron's now jealous because he's not being paid attention to by Starscream. So he's like, all right, I have to get back to trying to kill him now as our foreplay dictates. So he
uses the lab equipment to yeet him and Bumblebee onto the roof.
Yeah, literally, he's like, no thoughts, hand empty, yeet.
God. So Bumblebee is now trapped on the roof with Starscream, which is not a place you really want to be.
First of all, I love that Starscream doesn't get what's going on. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he just thinks it's random. Like, he doesn't see what's happening. Oh my god, why
anyway,
is he doing this?
Back to killing you.
Yeah, he barely thinks, alright, oh yeah, I have an Autobot to tear apart with my bare hands.
And like, what happens, like, this is so funny. Because what happens here, first of all, Sumdac comes back.
Yeah, Sumdac comes and is like, oh my god, there's a hole in the roof. And Megatron's like, quickly, my dear friend, they're coming.
Yeah.
But that gets dropped real quick because as soon as Blitzwing and Lugnut arrive, he's just like, hey, sup.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like, what's Sumdac gonna do at that point?
Right, really. Back on the roof.
Like, here's the thing that kills me. Sumdac doesn't immediately like react.
That's what I was saying before.
And
that's what I was saying.
He gets distracted, so he doesn't even notice Lugnut and Blitzwing arriving until like they're mid conversation with Megatron.
That's what I was saying with the fucking Decepticon symbol.
Bro, you gotta be more observant.
You ignorant slut.
But yeah, up on the roof, Bumblebee is having a bad time.
And Megatron's like, oh cool, he's distracted again. So I could. This is what happens here is like that one 4chan green text where it's like, I believe that thought is material. I'm not going to settle disputes on this matter, believe it or not. Okay, this thread will be performing a vigorous psychic attack on Starscream. Target, patient death. The alleged result of the attack is Starscream's massive stroke tonight. Obviously, the result can only be achieved by our common mental efforts and the great desire of many Decepticons.
He just shoots him with a fucking laser or something. He just shocks him like an animal.
Right, but he does it with his like brain because he's still hooked up with all the symptoms, so he's psychically attacking Starscream. Or it's like the guy who's trying to send David Lynch to psychically attack David Lynch and keeps ending up in the hospital.
Yeah, Starscream doesn't have quite the psychic defense that David Lynch does. But yeah, Blitzwing and Lugnut arrive, and I like that Blitzwing's reaction is, oh my god, he wasn't crazy after all. And Lugnut is, of course, immediately groveling, oh my lord, my glorious leader, you're alive. And then he looks up and pauses and goes, what happened to your body? And Megatron just answers, long story. I will tell you later. Let's just get that key up in there.
Very relaxed employee-employer relationship.
Yeah, it's like... there's no drama here. He and Lugnut are just... he knows that Lugnut is his boy. Like, he's not gonna do anything against him.
If no one else got me, I know Lugnut got me. Can I get an amen?
That's why he's spoken to his ear like the PS5. He knew Lugnut's got him. And this Sumdac. This is where Sumdac... It's like, why are you doing here? Why are you Decepticons talking to Megatron? And Lugnut makes him bow down, and Megatron just goes... Okay, I've been wanting to say this for so fucking long. You're a annoying little shit. I'm the leader of the Decepticons. Also, your spinach puffs suck. Now, Blitzwing, get that key in there. Let's get me juice back up.
To say nothing of your sog paneer.
Yeah, and then and Sumdac just goes, "What have I done?" Yeah, what have you done? You didn't ask any questions. That's what you've done.
Yeah.
You credulous asshole. And this looks so cool. Megatron being reborn looks fucking sick. All of the, like, wiring reconnecting and smashing through the floor. It's fucking cool looking.
It's good.
And he's back. He crashes through the roof, and the Autobots have arrived, and everyone assembled, including Starscream, outside, has the exact same reaction to seeing a reborn Megatron floating above Detroit, which is to say pants-shitting terror.
All piss.
Yeah, which brings us right into part 2, and immediately... So first of all, I noticed this episode's intro has sound effects in it. Like it's a fucking JoJo part.
I didn't even notice that.
We've reached the finale, so now they put all the fucking sound effects in the intros, which I think this show predates Phantom Blood's anime. So like actually,
oh yes, it does.
This they stole that from Man Transfers Animated. Fun fact.
For sure, that is what happened. Yep.
That's exactly what happened. That's the narrative I will tell myself in my head. Anyway, Megatron literally just drops to the ground and beats everyone's ass. Like, It's not a fight. It's just straight up not a fight. He's got 2 swords, he's got a big gun, and he's fuck huge.
Yeah, Phantom Blood. Sorry, I just looked up Phantom Blood. It was 2012, so it predated this by some amount of time, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, Megatron is just performing like it's Stomp Live, with the instrumentation being Optimus Prime's face.
Yeah, and like at some point in this, like Lugnut makes a move to be like, "Oh, Lord Megatron, it's so great to be by your side," and he's immediately squashed by Starscream, literally squashed by Starscream.
Yeah,
who
there's a bit. It's after the bit where it's Lugnut and Blitzwing are basically reenacting the bit from the 86 movie, where Hot Rod's like, I gotta get in there, and Cup's like, no, it's Prime's fight. Lugnut's like, I gotta get in there and beat those Autobots to death alongside Megatron, and Blitzwing's like, well, he didn't ask for any help, so like,
no, isn't it the opposite? Isn't it Blitzwing who wants to?
No, it's Lugnut. It's always Lugnut. Or it might be Blitzwing. It might be Hothead Blitzwing.
I think it is Blitzwing who wants to join the fight, but Lugnut's like, no, this is Megatron's moment.
And
do not interrupt him.
Clearly, he does not need any help. Like,
it's true. To be fair, true.
Just wiping the floor with these dudes with the greatest of ease. And we cut out to Starscream, who's like got Bumblebee by the throat, and he's like tossing him around as he muses to himself, like, let's see, what are my options? I could jump in and help the Autobots kill Megatron and then kill the Autobots. Or I could just, slide back into the second in command role. And he's like using Bumblebee like a fidget toy, just like tossing him in the air. Like, what do I do?
He is like fuck off McHuge.
He is gigantic. I mean, obviously Bumblebee is quite small, but like
Starscream really is fuck off McHuge in animated.
Yeah, he is at least almost as big as Megatron. The other one
he's
bigger is probably Lugnut.
Lugnut probably has more mass, but Starscream is like taller.
Yeah.
And has sort of more of a presence.
So after he has finished beating the shit out of Prowl and Bulkhead and is currently beating the shit out of Optimus goes like, wait, you can't kill me? You need us to help find the Allspark. And Megatron goes, actually, I don't need you for shit because I have the key and they can tell me exactly where it is. So, you're useless.
Bye.
Yeah, and he gets ready to fucking blast them all. Megatron summons all his loyal Decepticons to his side after he punches Optimus's lights out. And, Starscream goes, well, I guess that's decided for me. I'll just pretend like nothing ever happened, and I'll wait for my opportunity then. And just like throws Bumblebee off of into a wall and flies down. And Megatron's like,
And again, literally landing on Lugnut's face. I need to be very clear about this. So like Lugnut's like approaching him, Megatron, and then Starscream like lands on him. It's like, Lord Megatron, how great to be back as your loyal second in command.
And Megatron goes, Starscream, it's so nice to have you by my side as I prepare to murder the shit out of the treacherous little snake who put me in this state. And
Oh, I didn't say treacherous. Very important. He doesn't say
Yes.
treacherous.
To murder the bot that put me in this state. And he's got his fusion cannon pointed at Optimus, and then he just whips around with the fist with the key on it and slams it into Starscream's chest and overloads his spark.
I think it was the opposite. Wasn't it like supposed to like drain it?
Regardless, Starscream
Anyway.
death count 3.
4. No, that's 4.
When did he die last time?
He died
So let's count the deaths. He got blown up on the Nemesis early on by the space bridge in episode 1.
1, and then he died again by the Allspark.
Yeah, he got
in the
yeeted
second
by the
one.
Allspark. So this is 3 of many more to come. And so we've always wondered for decades now. The Autobots have been rolling out, but what did the Decepticons have as a battle cry? Well, Megatron finally gives us our answer when he commands his Decepticons to transform and rise up because they can fly. You see,
Right. Yes.
and they head towards the Allspark to grab it, and Ratchet's still at that ship. This is where we see Black Arachne and Sari on the ice.
Yeah, and this is where they have the conversation about being abandoned by the Autobots for not being good enough for them and not being trustworthy enough.
The Autobots slip away from Megatron, but he literally doesn't care. Like, whatever. What are they going to do? I'm just going to go get the Allspark.
Yeah.
They all hide in Sumdac's lobby. Where he's they're yeah. So Black Arachne and Sari are on the ice, and they have that little thing about they left me after I changed and all of this, but the Allspark can save me, and that's when Black Arachne realizes that Sari has just been leading her in circles.
Yeah, and Sari's like, "Oops." But to be fair, if you want the Allspark, you're gonna need to hold your breath for a really long time. And Black Arachne's like, "Well, I'm half organic. I would never be able to do that." And Sari's like, "Sort of what I was hoping you were gonna say."
Yeah.
And
Meanwhile,
it's underwater because it's underwater on the Ark.
Meanwhile, on the Ark, Ratchet is setting up the security systems and notices that Sari appears to be held hostage by Black Arachne. So
Damn, crazy.
he breaks open the fucking icy layer on the lake and rescues her, and just shoots once again, yeets Black Arachne into the distance.
Though I will say, Black Arachne yeets Sari.
Yes, she does.
She just throws her to the side. Again, something that a normal 8-year-old would definitely be able to survive. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm. And so we see the Autobots also in the lobby of Sumdac Tower, and they're super fucking banged up. And Sumdac's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault." And Optimus is like, "Well, I mean, it's not really your fault at all. Why would it possibly be your fault?"
Yeah, Sari also gets a really fun catchphrase in this episode that we'll talk about in a bit.
Yes.
But she does it the first time. Here after getting rescued by Ratchet, who's like, "Yeah, anyway, we have to get back to Troy ASAP because I need to fix everyone." And she's like, "Oh, well, that's not a big deal. It's not as though you lost the Allspark key."
Ratchet just
You did what?
He just looks to the side. He's like, "Well, I really wasn't looking forward to telling you. That's any consolation."
Yeah.
She says, "No, it's not."
Right. She's like, if it's any consolation, I'd rather face Megatron himself. And there's a rumbly.
Yep.
And she's like, "Well, you might get your wish."
I guess I haven't said this Megatron has a fairly unique alt mode among Megatrons in that he is like a helicopter. Not normally a common Megatron alt mode. You get a lot of tanks, you get your handguns, you get some spaceships and whatnot, but helicopter is rare.
Yeah. I don't think there's any other one where he's a rotary, actually,
No.
that I can think of.
But also this is with the Autobots, where Sumdac tells the Autobots Actually, I've had Megatron alive in my lab the whole time, and also my entire robotics empire is built on his reverse-engineered Cybertronian technology, and also I fixed his body for him, and the Autobots are understandably quite cross with him about all of that.
This is also the point where, like, Ratchet and Sari make it back. And, as Sumdac's going on, and she's like, "Why are you feel so guilty? It's not as though you brought Megatron back to life." You did what?
Yeah.
So that's her fun little catchphrase for these episodes.
Yes. Sumdac fixes them up using the residual key energy in the machines in his lab for Megatron's resurrection. I like that before they go there, Prime says to somebody, "Hey, somebody get Bumblebee from the roof." He's still up there.
Oh, yeah.
This is very funny. And they have a little moment before they get picked up by the Ark, where Optimus kind of apologizes for being kind of a dick the past episode, specifically to Bumblebee, but to everyone else as well.
We've all made mistakes that you're going to regret.
And they do the little hand over each other thing. And they all draw on their markers. You
can't mix my media like this. Those are my media, Nero.
So that's when they get picked up by Sari and Ratchet. And the Ark is being chased by the Decepticons, and they manage to shoot it down. Stop me if you heard this one before. They shoot it down in an extinct volcanic crater where it gets buried in the mountain in a very familiar looking location. Weird.
Listen.
And they crash. The Autobots get ready to throw down with the Decepticons, and Sumdac is like, "Sorry, we may not make it out of this one alive. I need to tell you something about your birth." And she goes, "Can't talk. Gotta go check on the god."
I was chosen. Dad, I was chosen. Isn't that weird? Anyway, bye.
And she goes down to ask Allspark, "Hey, why did you choose me?" And it shows her DNA, and she goes, "I don't see what that has to do with anything. That won't stop me because I can't
read.
Meanwhile, the Autobots are fighting the shit out of the Decepticons here. Lugnut goes down pretty quick. He and Bulkhead are in a big boy fight here, and I like this. I like how he defeats Lugnut here, because he uses his wrecking ball to prematurely press his punch of kill everything instead of shooting into space.
Yeah, Blitzwing and Lugnut are our own worst enemies in this fight.
They really are, because then I love this where they're having a hard time with Blitzwing because he's so unpredictable and versatile, and Prowl's like, "I've noticed something. Depending on what personality is in control, he has a different preference for vehicle mode. So all we need to do is to get him out of the sky is to make him mad." And he goes, "So that with that we'll need to use one of Bumblebee's greatest skills." And Bumblebee's like, "What's that? My speed, my quick thinking, my good looks?" And Prowl's like, "No.
Being annoying.
You're fucking annoying as shit." And so Bumblebee trolls Blitzwing to death, basically.
Hey, listen, you do what you gotta do. When it's you and an enemy in that COD lobby, you do what you gotta do.
He makes Blitzwing so mad that he turns into a tank and falls onto the lake. And by the way, when he turns into the tank, Blitzwing says, "Oh, slag, not again," which is, of course, a Hitchhiker's Guide reference. It is the one thought that the jet that gets turned into the flower pot thinks, "Oh no, not again."
Good fucking references in these episodes.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, the Optimus and Megatron not going quite
Optimus
as
is getting his
well.
ass beaten to quote retweets again.
Yeah, he is putting up a little bit more of a fight, but he is really going all out here, and Megatron is just kicking his ass.
Megatron's playing with it. Listen, he has a huge fuck-off fusion cannon. If he wanted to, he could level this entire city in one go, probably.
He does not use that fusion cannon very often in this episode, I noticed. I don't think he actually uses it at all. I don't think he ever
he doesn't. It is literally a WMD.
Yeah,
like the wave of destruction brought on by this thing is so massive that he doesn't use it unless he really feels like it's called for, and he doesn't give a shit about these guys.
No. Like, he to him, these are not enemy combatants. They are, like, annoyances.
They are like little babies. Watch this.
Yeah, and he and Optimus eventually slam their way into the cargo container where Sari and the Allspark are. Megatron punches the shit out of Optimus and heads over to, like, Sari stands defiantly in front of him and he literally just, like, shoves her out of the way to get the Allspark.
And he almost does, but then Sumdac shows up and he's like, "Newsflash, asshole, I've known all of your weaknesses this entire time."
Well, he actually does manage to, like, put it in his chest and, like, combine it with it. And then he goes to
that's
walk
true.
He starts going to walk off, and that's when Sumdac shows up, which is important because that's when he drops the key, when he, like, doubles over in pain.
Yeah.
So Sari snatches the key, and yes, Sumdac's like, "I have known all of your fucking, like, I know how to disrupt your equilibrium. I know how to do all this shit because I rebuilt you." And Megatron goes like, "Yeah, maybe, but you don't know shit about us. Actually, you don't know about the spark of life. Like, you're just a mechanic. You're just an engineer."
And Sumdac looks at the camera and says, "That's a special comment that'll come in handy later."
And then, so, like, Optimus goes to attack Megatron, and Megatron just blasts him with an Allspark ray from his chest.
Yeah, he's like, "Fuck you, dude." He's like going on and on. It's like, "Can you feel the power of life?" or whatever. It's like all this very archaic, semi-mystical stuff as he he doesn't relent. It is just this laser coming out of his chest, pinning Optimus to the wall.
Right up in his face. And he's like, you Autobots never really understood the true, like, nature of the Allspark. I'm here to teach you, and I will use it to conquer all of Cybertron. But first, I'm gonna glass this fucking planet that kept me prisoner for 50 years. But Sari throws
Yeah, he's like, "Any last words?" And Sari throws Optimus the Allspark key, and Optimus goes, "Nerf this," and shoves the key into Megatron's chest.
And it shatters the Allspark, and it begins growing unstable. They shove him out of the cargo bay once again, and he fucking explodes.
So what I really like about this is that he falls into the volcano.
Yeah.
And as he explodes, it looks like the fusion cannon firing.
Yeah.
I really like that visual.
He just explodes and is seemingly gone. And Sari asks if Optimus destroyed the Allspark, and he goes, "No, I think I just dispersed it." Which that won't cut. Don't worry, that won't come up later. And he gives her the key back. He's like, maybe this power. This is the most. He says this is now the most powerful Cybertronian artifact in existence, and perhaps it is too valuable to be in the hands of a mere Autobot. It's like, listen, Optimus, it's a nice touch. I know you're trying to make the kid feel better. Maybe don't hand it back just yet. Mayhaps, perhaps, I don't know, Optimus. I just think maybe you should keep a closer eye on that key. And the Autobots are like getting fixed up by Sari and all that. And then she kind of looks around and goes, "Hey, where's my dad? Has anyone seen my dad?" Oh, and we cut to the bank of Lake Erie, where a very wounded Megatron is crawling out of the water. Spark chamber's still exposed, and he's like, he's looking down at his hand, and I love that he asks, "Are you comfortable in your chair, Professor Sumdac?"
It's pretty good.
And he's like, I suppose fate has tied us together once more.
Fate nothing, bitch. You kidnapped me.
Potato. And
this wasn't coincidence. You snatched my ass.
He just grabbed him. When did he have the time for that? He exploded. He just like crawl in real quick and grab him. Yeah. But that's the end of animated season 1 with Isaac Sumdac kidnapped.
So you guys will probably only have to wait like 2 years or whatever until we get to season 2.
We'll get back to it eventually. You know, maybe we'll go through all the other stuff first. Who can say?
Not a threat, just a fact.
Not a threat, just a fact. We got a couple of questions here. We can get through these right quick. Because we're making pretty good time. First of all, Verdict Velvet asks, would you invest in Megatron? Would you donate to Megatron's political campaign? If not, what sort of
These are
plot?
two very different questions,
They
I will
are.
say.
If not, what sort of cartoon plot would he have to orchestrate in order to trick you into doing so? Well, there is a G1 episode about that, and I am very much looking forward to that, to Megatron's master plan, because it is one of the funniest episodes of Transformers of all time.
Yeah. Would I invest in Megatron? Maybe. Would I donate to his political campaign? Absolutely not.
Early IDW
If he
Megatron,
if he
maybe.
did anything, if he had a platform that said anything about lowering inflation, addressing COVID, or stopping global warming, then actually maybe yes. At the very least, I would vote for him.
That's why, like, maybe early IDW Megatron, possibly.
Yeah.
But anything past that,
actually communist.
anything. But then when he starts about, like, actually we should recreate the Cybertron Empire, I was like, well, hang on now, hold on, I didn't vote for this.
He contains multitudes. He's both a communist and an imperialist.
Just like the U.S.
Hard to imagine how, but he does it.
He could trick me
Like
into
an ANCAP.
God,
How do you do it?
yeah. ANCAP Megatron is so cursed. I hate it.
That's a Unicron trilogy.
It is. He is definitely. Yeah, that's true. Thrust. How are my cryptocurrencies doing? Oh, Dogecoin is up, sir. What sort of cartoon plot could he trick me into orchestrating, like me donating to his campaign? I don't know. Actually, you know what? If he just show me the giant purple griffin, that's enough for me, really. I don't need a platform. Just show me that thing, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Imagine the giant purple griffin, but it's like the Ted Cruz butter cow tweet.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, right. We have some questions from earlier. I read down here. And
yeah, that's right.
That's right. Don't forget questions from October 3rd. I can't forget October 3rd. Black Arachnia Lovebot, all the way back in the past, asks, how do we think Lugnut got impurated?
No, because there is no way anything that dark exists in this series.
He's got this body type, though. And if animated Lugnut ever showed up in anything else, he would be. Yes.
Well, if he showed up in IDW, he would be.
Yeah.
Impurata, listen, there have been a lot of Cyclops claw hand Transformers over the course of this franchise. Yeah. And the idea of Impurata never came up until IDW.
When James Roberts looked at all of those Cyclopean claw-handed guys and went, that's weird. How could that have come about? Ah, I know. State-sponsored mutilation and torture.
Yeah.
Woo!
Anyway, no, I don't believe Lugnut was Impurated. Because that doesn't exist in this universe. That's all.
Robinus Prime asks, do you think there is like a prejudice against shell forming and parts forming on Cybertron? Well, I personally have a prejudice against parts forming, but that's a discussion for another day.
What does this mean?
So like shell forming is like these are mostly toy based questions, but like a shell former is like when the robot is mostly all on the innards and there's just a whole bunch of fucking alt mode bits hanging off of him. Like basically the whole alt mode is like on his back. Parts forming is like
the RC thing.
Yeah, basically. Parts forming is like the old G1 Seekers where you have to like almost completely take them apart and add new stuff onto them and whatnot. That's a little bit rarer.
Okay.
I think I don't know enough about animated Cybertron's culture to know. Although I do know that they are racist. So at least against organics. So
I will say probably not against shell forming.
No.
But parts forming probably yes, because if you don't have a functional alt mode on your own, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, it's like, you got to do that to fucking transform? That's weird. You're weird.
Yeah.
Sentinel has all sorts of slurs he can call you.
Oh boy, does he.
Back to
Sentinel Prime caught on LA City Council.
God. Back in the present, or Animated asks, what sort of multi-level marketing / crypto scams would each of the Decepticons try to sell you? Well, obviously, Lugnut is trying to get Megatron coin off the ground.
Megcoin?
He's the primary investor. And the only investor. I mean, Blitzwing...
Blitzwing would do NFTs because...
That's right.
Because he just switches them, like his own face.
Starscream...
It's NFTs of himself.
See, Starscream would definitely run a multi-level marketing scam, but he would be running it, so he would be like he'd be selling Amway or something.
I think he'd do oh god, what are the knife MLM?
Oh my god.
You know what I'm talking about.
I forget what they're called. Yes,
is it Cutco?
It's Cutco.
He runs Cutco.
Yep. Black Arachnia
sells essential oils.
Yeah, I was about to say she's on that crystal grind. I think it's all of them, as of so far, anyway. There are more in the future. Black Arachnia Lovebot asks, "How fucking?"
Well, no. There's a second part to our animated question,
right.
which is: does Blitzwing keep undermining the other head's business ventures, or do they do insider trading?
Insider trading with yourself.
It is because again, it's all NFTs of themselves. So.
Oh my god, I love that. Insider trading with yourself is really funny. Yes. The answer to both is yes.
Yeah.
It's a complicated market, you see.
And then we get a bunch from Black Arachnia Lovebot this week.
First of all, how fucking creepy are the space barnacles? What's the most interesting take on zombies you've seen in media? Favorite take in Transformers?
Okay, the space barnacles are, all things considered,
not that creepy.
They're fine.
They're just like goopy. Like if they were more like if they were more body horror-ish, like if they started like if Prowl got infected and it started like eating away at him or whatever, that would be creepier. But like they're just Teen Titans monsters. They're just goop boys.
Yeah. I'm trying to...
So I know what my favorite take on zombies is in Transformers. It is a Prime thing that I don't necessarily want to talk about because I think it's a really cool episode and I don't want to spoil it.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool. It's very good though.
Yeah, I think that's the same that's my choice as well. Although there is some stuff in the IDW comics that's pretty fun.
Yeah, like there was that there. So like first of all, there's that zombie IDW wide crossover thing that happened, but that doesn't count to me. I mean, technically, for a while, Galvatron and his crew were zombies for a bit, and then Vector Sigma brought them all back to life proper. Well, Scourge just died, but who cares about Scourge? But like zombies in general,
I feel like the most interesting one to me is 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
Because I feel like 28 Days Later was like the first thing to really do the medical idea of it.
Right.
I mean, I guess Resident Evil really did, if you're thinking about it.
Like Resident Evil, the problem with Resident Evil is that on a long enough scale, all of the like T-virus guys just eventually become fucking huge tentacle beasts for you to shoot at, which is like fine. They look cool, but they aren't zombies. Like the Nemesis.
I think the idea, I will give, so first of all, there's multiple viruses, and I think the T-virus versus the D-virus is like something to be, and there's like another one as well. Like the thing that's used on Nemesis is not the same T-virus. It's a different one. It is the D-virus. It's the D series, and then there's the E series in 7 and 8. Oh,
that's the fungus stuff, yeah.
Right. I mean, it's all from the same fungus. It's literally all derivated from the same team. Whatever.
Wesker was just out there with his fucking mushrooms cooking it up.
But I will say this, that like even if it weren't different viruses, which it is, so I kind of give them a pass on it.
Right.
Even if it weren't different viruses, the like gnarly monsters really involve much more direct contact. It's like you have to inject yourself with it, as opposed to it spreading
That's
to
true.
the other one. So, like, I would argue that those are still zombies. It's not everyone becomes a gnarly thing at the end. It's anyone who, like, directly injects themselves with the virus because they're crazy scientists.
Chugs it like a fucking Gatorade. And
Right,
turns into
exactly.
a
Like, those
four-armed
guys...
nightmare beast.
Those guys turn into things with 60 wings and 40 eyes, you know? Like, that... So, like, that to me is different. I do think that Resident Evil's the base T virus is a basic zombie.
Yeah. There's also like the stuff like the liquors and whatnot that get like a little more out there. It's like, that's weird.
Right. I mean, yeah, so there are like evolved things. There's the Belchers and the mold people in 7 and 8 again. But anyway, the molded. I think the T virus zombies are legitimate, and Resident Evil and 28 Days Later were sort of like the first to sort of explore the idea of like a viral thing, which has now become so ubiquitous in zombie stories. Like there hasn't been a new zombie story in years, I feel like, that hasn't done it's a virus.
Speaking of that, I mean, yeah, I did, I guess I'll take this opportunity to say I recently rewatched Pontypool over the weekend, which has it is technically still a virus, but it has a really interesting twist on it. And if no one here has seen it, I will simply encourage you to go watch it because it's good. But that was a very cool take on like the genre. But yeah, you're right. After like 28 Days Later, and especially The Walking Dead, like that's it. Zombie fiction has just been in a rut for a while.
Yeah, and I mean, The Walking Dead, I'll say, at least took it one step further, and I thought the idea is like everyone's infected and everyone will become like, you know, like with 28 Days Later, you just sort of died and became it. It like killed you, like the virus killed you.
Right.
I think the idea of the virus not necessarily killing you in The Walking Dead, but saying like, yeah, everyone's infected with it, and if you died, this is what you turn into now. Was
it is
interesting.
But I also the zombies in Left 4 Dead are like classic, right? Like the crazy unique zombies, like those are all cool. Love me a boomer, love me a witch, love me a hunter. Literally just a dude in a hoodie. Black Red and Lovebot also asks, do you think the Sumdac system style guide mandates that all construction robots have a green and purple color scheme? Yes. If he's stylish, it does.
Yeah, agreed.
Although maybe we'll see like the G2 Constructicon colors with like the purple and orange and the purple and yellow.
Oh god, they're so bad. They're so bad.
Fucking ugly as shit. All of the G2 colors all of those teams are absolutely eye-searingly ugly. They're so bad.
It's bad design, Brent.
Have you seen fucking G2 Thundercracker?
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
Hideous. What happened to him? He looks like a fruit by the foot.
So bad.
And finally Black Rat Lovebot asks, hey, where did that fusion cannon come from? Is Sumdac Tower secretly a Lucky 38 style fortress for Sumdac to survive a nuclear apocalypse? Can he take remote control of any Sumdac robot? Is that the system Soundwave tapped into? And we get a Pepe Sylvia gif, and she says, I've got this mail addressed to Porter C. Powell. The answer to all that is yes. Like, look at
including where did the fusion cannon come from?
Like, that is a question. He did not his body did not have that before, and it just appeared there.
And the answer to it is yes.
Yeah, like Sumdac Tower, you look at it, yeah, it looks like a spark plug, it's cute, whatever, but that fucking thing has got the greatest fortifications known to man, and Sumdac just, obviously it's been blown up a lot, but that's because Sumdac, he can't activate them because that would involve catastrophic destruction.
Yeah.
He's got to wait. He's got to wait for the right time. And
finally, from Slipstream Sam, we got, can I get a burger? AKA, which Cybertronians like fast food?
Bumblebee.
Bumblebee's the only one who sort of approaches it, especially if we're talking about, like, Earth fast food.
Yes. So it's like Cybertronian fast food, definitely also Bumblebee.
And Bulkhead. I would say, like, probably the entire Autobot team is poor.
Prowl definitely doesn't. and he's kind of snooty about it. He's like, you all eating those McEnergons or whatever. You know, you gotta eat healthier. It's like, shut up, bro. Shut the hell up. We're on a space bridge salary here.
Yeah, but they're all broke.
Yes, they are all broke.
So,
which means none of the elite guard eat at fucking Energon King or whatever. Sentinel has not touched a Taco Bell Energon in ages.
Rubber King.
I hate that. So chewy.
It's listen, texture is important in your food.
It's true. What about the Decepticons? Do any of the Decepticons eat fast food?
Lugna and 2/3 of Blitzwing.
See, now I feel like it's only random Blitzwing, and the other two hate him for it.
I think Hothead does as well.
Like he gets the spicy stuff. He rolls up to McDonald's.
He goes to Chipotle.
Yeah. All right, just let me know when you have enough hot sauce, and they just like, and they like they're drizzling it on, and he just keeps nodding, and they just up in the bottle. Just open that bad boy up.
He goes to Chipotle, and when Icy razzes him for it, he goes, "It's fast casual."
It's not fast food, it's fast casual. He's like, they charge you so much for the guacamole. It's all worth it. Now open the second bottle and up in that one too.
Yeah. And that's it for this week.
That's right.
Start sending us your questions for our wrap-up episode for the first season of Animated.
It's coming. And the announcement for our next season. Ooh.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real surprise for everyone.
It's gonna be
as surprising as this one. Well, maybe not. I feel like my choice is maybe a little less obvious.
That's right.
It's not as obvious as Prime was.
I think we are on break next week, though, right?
We are, because I will be out of the country.
So yeah, plenty of time to get those questions in and really load us up with those animated questionerinos.
Yeah.
I'm just staring at this gif of Charlie Day. We gotta get out of here.
I'm Audrey. You can find me on Tumblr and Twitter at Optimum on Prime. That's my funny robot internet joke. You can also listen to the other podcast I do. It's called Pot of Greed. We're on the 4th season of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Oh, it's about Yu-Gi-Oh! You can find that on Twitter at Pot of Greedcast. You can also, you don't even have to throw a couple dollars their way anymore, because all the stuff I guested on has now been released to the public. At Moonshot Network, I guested on a bunch of things recently, including an episode of Once Missed Wonders, a podcast about watching classic movies for the first time, and episode 68 and delightfully 69
Nice.
of Champs in the Making, a Pokemon Showdown bracket.
Oh yeah, check all that out. I'm Nero. You can find me on Twitter at Dragon Smoocher. You can find all my various other projects in various other places, such as the comprehensive Final Fantasy XIV Online Companion podcast, Radio Free Heidelin, I do with my friend Jane. That is at Heidelin Radio on Twitter. With her, I also did a podcast about She-Ra 2018 called Podcast of Power. You can find all those episodes up, and we've got some Patreon content for that as well that we were ramping back up. And I'm also on Disney Minus at Disney Minus Pod from time to time, where we discuss all of the slop that's on Disney Plus. Not all of it's slop, just most of it.
Just a lot of it. Listen, they had like a good couple decades in there.
80% slop, roughly.
They had a good couple decades in there, and then they kind of
really
lost it.
It comes in waves, and right now we're
in the death of media right now,
really
so
are.
You can't.
Disney is sucking the soul out of everything in culture. Michael Mouse is growing more powerful every day as Warner Brothers just like axe murders various properties, and it's all going great over here. I'm just going great.
Well, I love having fun. And we've been Prime Cuts. You can find us on the Noise Space Network with other great shows. Just look them up. There's so many.
Hey, I want to shout out a new one.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Sounds About Light, the new Kingdom Hearts podcast from Sam.
Yeah. There's a ton of them. Go look them up. There's so many. You can also find us on Twitter at PrimeCutsPod, and you can join our Discord, where you can submit us lots of questions about the first season of Animated, and stay tuned for the seminal classic, the critically acclaimed,
Oh no.
the Oscar nominated Revenge of the Fallen.
Giant enemy
Did
scrotum.
Revenge of the Fallen get any Oscar noms for like effects?
It would only be effects. I mean,
listen, if Suicide Squad can win,
best makeup. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look that up because maybe it is. Maybe we can call it an Oscar nominated.
I'm looking it up right now.
That would be so funny. Okay, on 2009. What else was out that year? Hugo, I think, came out that year. Because I think there were some actually very good-looking films that came out the year, so maybe Revenge of the Fallen didn't make the cut because they didn't want to nominate the car crash orgy.
It was nominated for Best Sound Mixing.
Oh, boy.
And that is it. It was amongst the short list for Best Visual Effects, but was only nominated for Best Sound Mixing.
Well, guess what? It was, saying that it is an Academy Award nominated film.
Wait, eventually losing to The Hurt Locker. It did win 5 Scream Awards for Best Actress, Breakout Performance Female, Best Sequel, Best FX, and Scream Song of the Year.
The fuck is Scream?
The Scream Awards?
Yeah, what is that?
It's an award show for like horror, sci-fi, and fantasy.
Well, that movie is horrifying. But yeah.
And 2 Teen Choice Awards for Choice Summer Movie Star Female and Choice Summer Movie Star Male.
Great. I assume that went to John Turturro and the lady who played the sexy evil pretender robot.
It went to Megan Fox and Shia LaBeouf.
What? Well, that just makes so much sense. I think listen, you listen to me. I know he's got like 1 billion Oscars or whatever, and he's a very respected character actor. I want John Turturro to win a Teen Choice Award, God damn it. I think it would be very funny. Regardless, you can show up in 3 weeks for that.
It was also nominated for 7 Razzie Awards.
Now that makes sense to me. Also, next week, maybe I'll do some Jackbox on Sunday or something.
Oh, yeah. It won 3 in Worst Picture, Worst Director, and Worst Screenplay.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the Razzies, fuck them. However,
when they're right, they're right.
It's a bad movie, folks.
It's a very bad movie, folks.
Listen, I know we said a little bit of the same thing about 2007. And it's not that great.
We didn't, though. Here's the thing. We didn't, though, about 2007.
Yeah,
we both said that it was fine.
And it is.
Revenge
of the Fallen.
Revenge of the Fallen sucks ass.
Bad. It's bad. And if you don't believe us, you can show up for yourself and understand. Then you will understand. And you will be irrevocably changed, just like us.
IMO, the only worst one is Last Night.
The one I haven't seen, so I can't
Last
back
Night
that up.
Is fucking atrocious.
Someday I'll figure it out, and I believe you. It seems bad.
It's fucking terrible.
Well,
I can't remember jack shit from that movie except for it being awful.
Anthony Hopkins is in it, and he's got a gay robot butler. That's what I know about it. So,
He does have that. I do. Yes, now that you mentioned that, I do remember that.
That'll be...
God.
Until then, when we're back in the movie theater watching fine cinema, I am going to dribble the Allspark like a basketball and dunk it into the hoop, shattering it instantly, then transform and roll out.
I'm going to die for the 3rd time. Just straight up die. Transform and roll out.
Peach.